All right, good morning, you guys. I am making a video this morning, and it is in regards to Jesse Zaboter. And this is just a brief rundown of some of the things that I think are important, that some people may find important. And if you don't find anything in this video, you may find information from some of these other sources. I will link these sources in the comment section. I'll pin a comment and then build from there. But there is a YouTube channel called Mr. Dior 07. That's MRDIOR 07. They have videos of Jesse Zaboter, and mostly it's the interaction that she's had with the person that is the co-founder of the Church of Satan. Excuse me. And Mr. Dior's videos, they are screenshots of Twitter and the interaction that Jesse has had with Lucien Greaves, the co-founder of the Church of Satan. If you watch those videos, if you put it on the slowest speed, you'll be able to read what Mr. Dior posts. The video does kind of go fast. It's kind of hard to read. So just slow it down. It's not hard. Like, not at all. Also, there is a YouTube channel called Sarah Seeks Truth. She has done videos. She also has videos elsewhere, and if she wants, she can link those. There is also George Bailey from Outward Trends Blogspot. You can go to George Bailey's blog and find a lot of information on Jesse Zaboter. And then there's also Will Beard with Cold Beer Confessionals. He did a video on Larry Gators, and then after a couple of hours, he spoke on Jesse Zaboter. I'll leave the link to that because Will did a fantastic job of running down some of these things that, Jesse testifies to. So anyway, those are other sources. And so I'm going to get started with the things that I have observed with Jesse Zaboter, and which points to bad character. And from the beginning, one of the things that Jesse lied about was the picture of the three girls that were drawing on a chalkboard. It was from a book that was over 100 years old. Someone or Jesse in her camp plagiarized that picture and then went the extra step of inserting a pentagram on the chalkboard where the children were drawing. So someone found the picture in a book that was over 100 years old, proof positive, it's a fact, and then, Jesse says that was her when she was a child. See, she first said that until someone busted her out on finding the photo elsewhere, and someone going the extra step of photoshopping a pentagram in that picture. So obviously Jesse says that she thought that she remembered this, and that her friend Cisco was the one who took the photograph. Well, that cannot be. They're not over 100 years old. So it's not true. Then Jesse goes on, and she and Jeff, not his last name, Shepherd, say that Jesse is a #1 best-selling author. Jeff had an announcement to make, and he was congratulating Jesse on being a #1 best-selling author. So I called them on that, and the response, it wasn't from Jesse or Jeff, unless it was one of their sock accounts, but someone said, well, it's her #1 bestseller. So that's how Jessie does things. She does these plays on word. So she's not a #1 best-selling author to Amazon, just to Jessie. So we should have known that. But of course, Jeff didn't clarify that either. He wanted people to think that Jessie was a #1 best-selling author, and then people like me go and check Amazon, and lo and behold, not true. Now, since Jessie has been telling her testimony and some of the activity that she has taken part in with the co-founder of the Church of Satan, Jessie has now disclosed that Lucien Greaves, the co-founder of the Church of Satan, knew her as a child in her days in the Luciferian Brotherhood, when she was being trained to be a Queen Mother of Darkness. This is like a newer revelation. She speaks with Lucien Greaves many times on Twitter, or has in the past. I don't know if she's doing a lot of interaction with him right now, but he has never confirmed this, and this information was in direct message with other people. But it's not a secret. It can be found online, can be found on Twitter. Now, another thing that I have noticed about Jessie is misappropriations with funds. She has raised an impressive amount of money for the service of her deceased son, never disclosing the amount, also never paying for the service, according to the church. The church that hosted Jessie's son's, who passed away, his service, his celebration of life, that service was paid for by the church. That's according to the church. Jessie was raising money for the service of her son, the celebration of life. The dollar amount was never disclosed on what was raised, but Jeff and Jessie were very appreciative and boastful of the amount of money that was raised on behalf of Jessie's son, Josiah Zaboter, and his celebration of life service. Where did all of that money go? We don't have any idea how much that it was, but it was impressive to Jeff and Jessie, and there's no accounting for it anywhere. And it didn't go for his service. Now we have Jessie raising money for Tim Holmset, a man who has active warrants for his arrest. He has a no bail warrant, as well as a $5,000 reward attached to his arrest warrant. Jessie is begging for money for Holmset. She told David Zublik she wanted to build him a house. She said on her Twitter, please help with his expenses and a new car. So Jessie wants to build a house for Tim Holmset. She wants to provide for his daily needs and buy him a new car. For a man who is trying to avoid the court system, he's on the run from the law. But Jessie wants everybody to pitch in. Okay, so let's talk about Holmset for a minute. Holmset begged to be a part of the court system. He boasted about his discovery. If he ever got into court, he'd bring forth, these other people would have to have discovery, and he would have everything. He would have his information that he's kept hidden from people all of this time, and he would have the information from the state or the government. They would have to provide their information, and Holmset, it would be a win. Except for Holmset never showed up for his court date. So I want you guys to remember that Holmset said, take me to court, we'll all go to discovery, and then everything will come out into light. I want y'all to remember that, because it gets said by Holmset, Jessie, Madison Marquette, and the whole works. They constantly say no one sees them because there would be discovery. Well, with Holmset, he didn't go. I guess he changed his mind. How many years did Holmset say he would reveal all in discovery? But then when it came down to it, Holmset so bravely turned a misdemeanor case into a bench warrant for his arrest with no bail. That's the way to show him, Holmset. This is the person Jessie wants y'all to give your hard-earned cash to. She's not talking to me, because these people don't talk to me. So, in the passing of Jessie's son, Josiah Zaboter, Jessie exploited his passing. She received funds with the fraudulent GoFund, because the funds were for Josiah's service, which the church he attended paid for, not Jessie. That's a misappropriation of funds. She wants you to donate to Tim Holmset, a person who has a warrant for his arrest and a no bail warrant at that. She wants you to send money to him or for him. Well, that's aiding and abetting a criminal, so that's misappropriation of funds. In my opinion, there is zero accountability with thousands of dollars. Jessie just posts a fundraiser, what seems daily. A new one. It changes, but send money. Does anyone have a count of Jessie Zaboter fundraisers? We're not going to find a dollar amount, not a final dollar amount. But if we could just keep track of how many that there have been. Another thing that I would like to note is that Jessie has several links in her video description boxes, and several are dead links. Jessie overpromises herself. She has a very high opinion of herself, but she is spread a little thin, so some of these obligations, along with the links, are a no-go. Defunct. Defunct like the association Jeff, not his last name, Shepherd, and Jessie had on the Right On Radio program. And in my estimation and observation, Jessie has a creepy, I'm not left the brotherhood type vibe, but I'm just getting started trying to climb the ranks of the brotherhood. She asks creepy questions on Twitter. She tries to intimidate people on Twitter. She spends a great deal of time trying to teach her followers to identify and disassociate with the people she calls harassers. Anyone who questions Jessie will be booted from her club. Madison, I don't know where that leaves you. Other people Jessie associates with and does fundraising with is David Zublik. I call him David Caught His Hair on Fire on social media, Zublik. Zublik posts the most provocative and insane headlines for his videos. According to Zublik, there are several well-known figures who have been tried and convicted at Gitmo and no longer with us. If you see them, it's all CGI on a green screen, possibly with a body double or a clone involved. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. So there's that with Jessie. Jessie says she has rescued children with government officials. Jessie knows when, where, and what time there will be children in danger. And there are government officials whom she is connected with because she has been training them how to identify children born into the Luciferian Brotherhood with no birth certificates. Evidently, according to Jessie, there is a stymie in the government. They are unable to identify children from the Luciferian Brotherhood because they have no birth certificate. It's a problem. Somehow the government officials connected with Jessie, and she is leading the charge in identifying and rescuing children. Y'all can believe what you want, but I am familiar with law enforcement operations, contractors, and subcontractors. Jessie ain't it. Tim Ballard works with government officials. Listen to his explanation of what it's like to work with government officials. You can tell by his videos that his explanation, he has worked with government officials. It sounds nothing like Jessie's explanation because Jessie is a fraud. If people follow Jessie, they will find there is zero depth in her testimonies. They are shallow. She does not relate to them. Her body language does not connect with her stories. There's no recognition in her eyes. Oftentimes, Jessie speaks like a woman who has been coached to keep her body language and emotions in check. The Mormon women are coached in the same manner, according to a young Mormon woman I watch on YouTube. I found that information very interesting and enlightening. At the time, I thought, that's how Jessie Zaboter acts. The last thing I want to address Jessie in this video is her role as a witness in a high-level case and has some sort of protection, some sort of special protection by the government. She threatens people with it on Twitter. Get your pen and paper out. You're going to need it to keep these characters straight. The parties involved are Craig Sawyer, Randy Erickson, who is Tim Holmset's side chick. Randy Erickson is also known as Randy Q. Erickson, as in Q, the movement Q, or also the high command. And then we have Jessie Zaboter. What Jessie calls a high-level case, of which she is a high-level witness with some sort of special protections, the facts are Randy Erickson Tim Holmset's side chick, filed a civil suit against Craig Sawyer. Jesse somehow was going to be a witness in this court case. According to court documents, the role was insignificant. So insignificant, some of the people involved in the case were only vaguely familiar with who Jesse was. The judge in Randy Erickson's case dismissed the case. The case is dead in the water. Jesse is no longer a witness in a case. The case was thrown out because it was frivolous. Randy Erickson is sovereign citizen. She, like many other sovereign citizens, file paperwork with the court frequently. They get thrown out because they have no merit or standing. That's why the government has labeled sovereign citizens paper terrorists. Now, Craig Sawyer did countersue Randy Erickson. The judge did not throw out Craig Sawyer's case. Craig Sawyer won by default because Randy Erickson did not show up. So here we have Holmset. He didn't show up for his case. Then we have Randy Erickson. She didn't show up for her case. And this was a missed opportunity by both of these people for them to get discovery. And then Jesse could have come in and helped out, and there would have been discovery all over the place, and everything would have come up smelling like roses. But something happened that Randy Erickson didn't show up with her discovery or ask for discovery from Craig Sawyer. So Craig Sawyer won by default, and the judge has yet to render a dollar amount. Craig Sawyer was cost money in that campaign by Randy Erickson and Holmset. He will get compensated for that. And anyway, that is all I'm going to say on this video about Jesse Zaboter. People can conclude what they want. What I have brought forth is easily found on Twitter, and you can also research the Mr. Dior 07, Sarah Seeks Truth, George Bailey, Will Beard. See what they have to say and draw your own opinion and judgment on Jesse Zaboter. All right? All right. Thank you for listening. Take care, you guys.